Okay, hello everybody and welcome. I'm Dottie Berry and I'm going to just let Yasmin in here real quick. Okay, here we go. I have to get my glasses on. I don't see her. Anyway, we'll see if we can get her on here in a second. Don't see her showing up yet. I let her in, but she's not showing.
It doesn't, maybe it's taking a second for her to come through because it's not showing me anything either.
Yeah, anyway. Okay, so here we are. This is Motivation Monday. We are in day one, week one of what we call a, well, Get Your Biz Lean, okay? Epic coaching challenge, because we're going to all come together. We're going to have an opportunity to be coached by 5 different generations of people, epic entrepreneurs who have a lot of training, background, and so forth. And, you know, if you've ever gone out there and tried to get one-on-one coaching, it's quite expensive. You guys don't come cheap, do you?
No, not really.
No, reasonable, and you get the value, but let's face it, one-on-one takes some money. So what we wanted to do was give back to a community that's been great to us, okay? Entrepreneurship has been my livelihood for 35 years, and my name is Dottie Berry, and I'm up here in Blaine, Washington, and it's been fantastic for me for over 35 years, and I've never wanted to do anything else. So that's just kind of how it's been since I decided really what my passion was, and working with people. I say that I was born to coach. I coached women's basketball many years ago and left that. And then, you know, it's like I just never quit coaching. So anyway, we've got 2 other of our 5 generation people here. We've got Jen Santoro, known as Coach J. Hi, Jen. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you today? You sound like so energized, and it's so great. It's very much a motivating Monday.
Well, I got it. You know, I put on the color and it just does something to me. It's like getting some music going or whatever. I don't know what it is, but it fires me up. So anyway, thanks for being here, Jen. And Stephanie, how are you today?
I'm good. It's been a wild Monday. First start of the year. It's been great. I'm actually having a lot of fun over here. So
that sounds great. Well, here's what we're going to be doing, folks, for you all who are actually seeing the recording later, or if you're on here live. We're actually going to have Motivation Mondays, obviously every Monday, okay, during this period, which is actually extended to 5 weeks because we have 5 generations of people who are going to do training each week. So that means that today through actually February 1st, which would be that Monday, we will be doing the Motivation Monday. And the whole first week that we're working on is on what we call a mind shift. Now, a lot of you may have heard about mindsets out there, but I kind of just was looking at what is a mindset. And I was going to the dictionary to kind of look at that. And it says that it's the ideas and attitudes with which a person approaches a situation, especially when these are seen as being difficult to alter. So unfortunately, my experience is that when people start talking about mindset, they get sort of set, sort of rigid. So I started using a lot talking about mind shift, because when I shift, I have to bring into conscious awareness. I have to identify something. And then once I identify something, a problem, an obstacle, something I want to tweak, then I can begin to shift that, and I can make conscious decisions. So I'm not bound by this mindset that sometimes people can have a positive mindset, but it can kind of color over things that they might really need to deal with. Because running from fear or pushing away fear does not make fear go away. Only acknowledging fear and understanding and looking at, you know, where the fear is coming from, can you actually do anything about it? So one of the things we wanted to look at with MindShift today, ladies, is what are the lessons from 2015? Because those provide some great nuggets. It's not where you go and flog yourself and beat yourself up. It's just that you go, hey, what lesson did I learn from 2015 that I want to take forward and do something different with? I'm going to see if I can get Yasmin back here again. Okay, there she is. Let's go for it. Hang on one second. Okay, that should bring her back in. But she's not there. Anyway, we'll keep going and we'll keep trying, Yasmin. You type us some good notes on a brand new computer, volume not working. Hey, let's just talk about things like this. And, I'm usually in the moment. I just asked y'all a question, but let's shift right now. See, that's how we do the mind shift. What does it show us about how things show up in life? If we get so attached to this specific outcome, it doesn't go our way, we can't ever alter anything. So right now, Yasmin's having an issue with, coming on and having a new computer work and so forth. And, you just deal with it. So why don't we kind of tie those together? And Jen, tell a little bit about yourself as you share, and then we'll go over to Stephanie. How about that?
Sure, that sounds great. So the two things that I heard you say was being able to talk about what I learned from 2015 and carrying that over now into 2016, and a little bit about myself, and then how being able to be flexible is very important to success. So a very quick background about me. My name is Jennifer Santoro. I have a marketing background. That was what I studied through college and through my master's program. And I started my career in the marketing field, and then realized my passions really lied also in being able to support people reaching their full potential and living in their full potential. And because of that, I was highly motivated to learn more about coaching and the field of professional coaching. And so I went on to receive my professional coaching certification from the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching. And it was a game changer for me because I was able to merge both my passions together and be able to actually help entrepreneurs really live their dreams and build sustainable businesses for themselves, along with living their best lives, whatever that looks like for them. I had time at Florida State University where I got to coach first-year students. And during that time, I actually was able to develop a coaching model that's been adopted there. But it's been a lot of fun to be able to share with the coaching community. And so that's just a little bit about my background, about why I believe I am feeling so much synergy between me and the other 5 generations that are represented here today. So a little bit about my own mind shifts that have happened. 2015 was a big reflection year for me in terms of self-love and self-respect. I went to town with doing a ton of research of what that means, what that looks like, because I was seeing that the clients that I was working with that had a healthy self-esteem, but more importantly, probably bringing it back down to those who had a healthy sense of self-love and self-respect, were able to, when challenges showed up, they were able to navigate so much easier than my clients who, not that they didn't have, everybody has some level of self-love, but we're feeling more challenged in that area. And that was something that I personally felt challenged in myself. So I really ended up the whole year in some way, shape, or form was focusing on what does that look like for me so that I could provide a better space for my clients to be able to really, really thrive. And so that was a huge thing. And so coming into now 2016, I'm very, very excited to now practice everything that I've learned, and then also be able to share what I've learned with you all and with the greater community as we expand. And so with that, I think as we are exploring how technology can sometimes not work for us, or when challenges show up, one of the ways that I've seen this applied is being able to not have any self-judgment, to just be like, okay, nope, it's okay, it happens, what am I learning, and how can I try to fix it for next time, or what am I learning from this experience? And so that's how we continue to grow and continue to thrive.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks so much for sharing that, Jen. You know, just the self-disclosure is always so important, I think. When I was working on my doctorate work in human sexuality, people said, well, what made you want to do that? I said, to heal myself. Why else? You know, I always think that everything I do is really to do more self-love, to heal my own things that I see come up. And then what we end up doing, we end up teaching and coaching what we learn, you know, and then we can have empathy with people, because we're not coaches out here trying to say, look at us, we're perfect. We're saying, look, we're coming to the table, and that mind shift that we have to do for self-love is huge. We have to give up hiding from ourselves. I'm going to share tomorrow, just as a spin off that, so that people will know. The Mondays are the BLAB days, you know, where we get in here and hang out, Motivation Monday. And the next 4 days of each week, we take a different topic, okay? So this week is MindSHIFT, but tomorrow we will actually be over at 247epicentrepreneurs.com. I put that in the chat box down there. The reason we're doing that is we can't screen share here. Over there, it'll be a live hangout, and we can screen share. And I'm going to share an awesome 3-minute video by Brene Brown. Oh my goodness. It is so great. She's talking, I mean, she uses her own little story and talks about taking responsibility and how we get into the blame game. And I'm not even going to mess it up by trying to describe it, because that would just not be good. All I'm going to say is, if you're listening today, make sure you come tomorrow to 247 Epic Entrepreneurs and grab on to that training tomorrow. Because in all of these, today and in those trainings, at the end, after we go through a few things here, we're going to offer the opportunity for somebody to come in and share your obstacles, share your issue, share your problem or whatever. This week, as it relates to mind shifts, what are you coming up against that you can't break through? And let some people, you can see here, we've got some experience, okay? And let us, give you some feedback, okay? That's what we would love to be able to do for people. And we'll ask in a minute if anybody wants to come into the seat. So thanks, Jen. Fantastic. So Stephanie, let me go over to you now. And what about the lessons you've learned in 2015? And how are you shifting your mind?
Lessons I learned in 2015. So I published my book. Hey, Yasmin's back, or hopefully back.
I know. I'm trying again.
Can you hear me?
Hey. Yes.
No, I can't hear you guys.
Can you hear us? Yasmin? Say something, Yasmin.
We can hear you, Yasmin.
Okay.
I don't know if you can hear us.
I can just talk by myself, even though I can't hear you guys. I'm not really sure. But that's no fun. You can't hear me. I mean, I can't hear you.
Yeah, we can.
So I'll just hang out here and smile. I'll keep tooling around. My techie husband is on an airplane right now, so I would ask him. So I don't know why it's not working. So you guys continue with your brilliance, and I will figure out my audio. I went to a new computer to see if that helped. But anyway.
But see, here's what I like about Yasmin.
Okay.
Say this.
It didn't happen on either of my computers, so I'm not sure. I really apologize, everybody.
No problem. Because here's what's good. She ran into issues because of a new computer. Guess what? She's not letting that stop her take some actions. It might not be the action that's putting it all together, but at least she's got on here, and we were able to hear her. But she's showing up. See, 99% of success is showing up, folks. I'm going to tell you, you hear all the other stuff, but if you don't show up, it's kind of, I use basketball analogies because that's what I did as coach. But I'm going to give you a little tip here. If you don't ever shoot the ball, it has no chance of going in the goal. And if you don't shoot it above the goal, it cannot go in. You cannot throw it under the goal and expect it to go through and score points. Now, you might bounce it on the ground and have it bounce up over the goal. But, these are
I can try and log back in again and see if that helps. So I will try this again.
Okay. Thanks, Yasmin. So, Stephanie, I'm going to put it back over to you. See, isn't this fun? It's like live TV.
Well, this is actually exactly what I was going to talk about, because when I launched my book in April of last year, I had unbelievable struggles. Not just the launch webinar had so many issues. It was not even funny. After all, we did all this work promoting this link that the webinar was going to be at. People were logging in and we were having this exact same issue. We're like, I would be able to hear them, but they couldn't hear me. Or then I would log out and come back in and now they could hear me, but I couldn't hear them. So we were having massive, massive issues. And it was so frustrating. That was Friday, right? So I did a 3-day launch, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday, first of all, Friday morning, I wake up, the morning of my launch, at about 3 a.m. to severe thunderstorms. And I'm like, oh, no, what happens if I lose power? I'm totally screwed if I lose power. I didn't have a laptop at the time. The Hangouts wasn't working on my tablet. So many problems. So I'm like, okay, well, we're just going to see what happens. Nothing. Fortunately, I had power Friday afternoon, and I'm like, okay, this is good. But now we've got day 2 of the launch, right? So we've already had all sorts of trouble with the live webinar launch. And Saturday, we wake up to no power. And not just me, but no power on our side of town. Like, there was a tornado, there was power. I mean, it was ridiculous. And the old me would have gone, you know what? I hit number 1 for a couple categories on Friday. We're just going to call it good and whatever. I'm done at this point. Screw this. I had problems yesterday. I'm having problems today. Obviously, this isn't meant to be. And instead, I got up and I said, you know what? I'm going to go to Panera. Panera has a backup generator. And I went over to Panera and I sat there with my tablet. And I just, on my tablet, I'm like posting and reporting and tracking. And it was way harder than it needed to be. And I was like, all right, well, tomorrow's the last day of the launch. It's going to be a great day. I'll have power back. I wake up Sunday morning, no power still. So I go back to Panera. But that entire weekend just completely exemplified the mind shifts that I've had where, yeah, okay, you run into problems, you run into a brick wall, you run into struggles. That's fine. There's always a way around it if you decide you're going to get around it. Because if I had just said, you know what, screw this, I'm going to go sit in my hammock for the whole day because, obviously this isn't meant to be, then that's exactly what would have happened. But because I said, no, I'm going to make this happen. I don't care how, I don't care what I have to do. I don't care if I have to go sit at a Panera all day long. I will do what I have to do to make this happen. And that's just such a shift from who I was in college where it was, oh, we're having trouble. Okay, well, guess we're done. So I think that was my biggest mind shift for 2015 was that if you want to find a way around it, you can find a way around it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We got some great, give them some love there. I love it. It's so true, Stephanie, just breaking through obstacles.
Yeah.
One of the best things I ever did, Robbie and I did, was we took a year-long journey in 2005 and 6. So it's 10 years later. And in a 13-foot trailer around the United States, over 50,000 miles. And our intention was to create authentic connections and engage hearts and minds and to transform differences that separate us. So Panera Bread was one of our favorite places because we did our newsletter each week in the Panera Bread because they had internet. We used to drive through hospitals and tap into theirs and through neighborhoods had this little thing that told us. I mean, imagine back in 2005 and 6, there was no really Facebook. It was just coming on. In fact, I was in Atlanta when a young college student said to me something about Facebook, and I said, well, what is that? And he said, oh, it's something for us college students, which obviously I did not qualify. So he was like telling me, but not really telling me, kind of like you can't get on. So we didn't have the advantage of having this kind of social media. And so we did these weekly newsletters, and it was amazing how people followed. We had signs on our vehicle, and people were going down the interstate going, thumbs up, and they were calling us off the website and saying, would you come to our school, to our church, to our whatever, our group. And it was one of the most amazing things, and that's when we began to adopt don't get attached to a specific outcome, and we kept that as a lifestyle. Because what I found was, as a recovering perfectionist, that getting attached to a specific outcome was like the quickest way to disaster for me and upset. And just like, okay, let's go through what it is. We'll figure out a way. You know, Stephanie and I are trying to figure out some things with our schedule. So, you know, it's just information. As Jen and I were talking, I think it was this weekend. Well, nobody died, you know, on that. You know, I'm like, anything is fixable. If nobody died, it's actually pretty darn good. And that's where I think we began to be able to have the opportunity to understand I have a power here. I have the opportunity to choose. I always believe I have a choice. If I give up my choice, then I'm really never free. So one of the things we want to talk about today is how we're going to act. Yeah, Stephanie?
Cheryl is asking if she should come in or wait for Yasmin.
Yeah, Cheryl, come on in. I was going to say that a minute ago, but I thought we would see if Yasmin could get back in, because Yasmin and I are kind of running the MindSHIFT week, so to speak, but we're all blabbing, so it's all good. Yeah, Cheryl, come on in.
Well, and if Yasmin shows up, one of us can hop off, and I mean,
yeah, sure.
It's not really that complicated.
Hey, Cheryl, good to see you.
Hey there. Cheryl. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Good, it's working now. I was having the same issue as Yasmin, so I love technology till it doesn't love me.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, so, hey, thanks for being here, Cheryl. And Cheryl, quickly tell just a little bit about yourself, because what I want people to understand is, look, we've got a whole lot of value to share with you. You know, one-on-one coaching, honestly, is expensive. None of us, it's not that it's not a great value. If you can afford it, one-on-one coaching is fantastic, because Tony Robbins, we want to always share a good quote, but he says, you know, mentors and coaches are your real key to success. I mean, they sort of like help you understand what your choices are. And when you understand that you truly do have choices, then you're free. I mean, honestly, you're just as free as you want to be. So Cheryl, share with us a little bit about your background so people can really get the value that we bring to the table. Because if somebody comes in a little bit and takes that epic BLAB seat, which I hope they'll raise their hand to do, then we want them to know, look, we have some experience here. Go ahead, Cheryl.
So, you know, my background would be more that I had a lot of chaos in my life when I was young. And as a result of that, I have a really high tolerance for it. And so, you know, I think that it has served me well. Sometimes it doesn't serve me well, as most things in life. There's the good and the bad of it. But I was thinking about what you were talking about earlier, Dottie, in terms of, you know, life experiences are really what bring us. You know, most great things that happen because somebody had an experience that was probably really challenging. But if you look at most, even nonprofit organizations that they start out of somebody's great challenge, right? And so wonderful things can come from it. And I think for me, that's really what my story has been about. And really, you know, I mean, it's not about degrees. It's about life, right? It's about life that takes you down a pathway, and you're sort of creating things as you go along. And sometimes you don't even realize what you're creating. And I think those are the things that unfold sometimes in the most beautiful way possible. And that's really what ours was, because we were going through some challenging times, particularly around finances. And it was a lot of chaos. And, we lost a lot during that time, including our home. But through it, we decided to come together, and that we were more than that, and that we became a team as a family. And, my boys and I at that point, because I was single at the time, stepped up, and we just said, we're going to get through this together. And that's what we did. And so the story that I share is really about, it's sort of a family love story in terms of how we found a way to support each other, to really become the optimal team of, knowing what it was going to take for us to get through a challenging time, but not let it define us. And that's really what happened. So when I got a chance to share that, because I do, hard to believe because I was shy when I was young, but I kind of got this desire to share speaking, and I was telling how you should have a family meeting, and found out that a lot of families, didn't know how to do that. And that's really what helped us, was a commitment to really communicate as a family. And that's why my section is all about communication. And it's not always that communication is fun, but there has to be a respectful way, a positive way. And Dottie, that I watched the little video that you're talking about for tomorrow on the blame.
Uh-huh.
And that's really what it's about. How do we step up, each of us, and take that ownership, so that, it's not that we don't all have sometimes a piece in it, but what's our piece, and what are we going to do to make it, our changes, so that we can own that piece of it, because otherwise we're stuck and we're giving our power away. And so really, this is a lot of just the life experience that I went through, also with my corporate experience in teaching, and an association background work. So I've had a mixed variety of things that have gone on. But ultimately, as you know, Dottie, led me to create an interactive family meeting toolkit that was then ultimately recognized as one of the next best brain ideas for humanity. And so that was sort of a wonderful thing to try to bring it all together, to say, and there's so many of those turning points in your life when you go, man, it was so worth it, right? So when somebody says they've lived a charmed life their whole life, I say, I kind of want to say, gee, I'm sorry. Because the greatest things we get out of life are usually the things we get to learn. And if we look at it that way, the tough times are when we get to learn. I think then we can get through anything. And so that's really what I want to share, is about the communication and how important it is, particularly in a challenging time, but how it can actually become your greatest gift.
Yeah, thanks, Cheryl. It's so true. And so, what we're doing every day, in fact, when you go over to 247 Ethic Entrepreneurs, which is where you register, you are going to be sent an email that has an article on vaccine, okay? And that's visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and sensing. And what we're asking people to do for tomorrow in preparation is to vax one simple statement. We're only asking for one simple statement a day. And that simple statement for tomorrow is, I am free, okay? Now, what we do when we vax is we can, I don't have my mirror today, but pretend this is a mirror. If you don't have somebody to look at when you vax, then you simply go to your mirror in the bathroom and look and say, so that you're looking into your eyes, I am free. 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 So you put different emphasis and you say it about 5 times. And then you go to auditory. And I'm going to explain why we do this. This is called anchoring the declarations, okay? And then we go to auditory and we simply rub our ears. And we say the same thing, still looking into the mirror if we don't have somebody to look at. It's a great tool, though, to do with if you have somebody you're in partnership with in your home, or your child, or anybody, friend, okay? So you simply say, I am free. I am free. I am free. Now, why are we saying that? Because so many people feel not free, in their being, in life, because of struggle. I get that. Let me tell you, I get that. We went through about the last 7 years of difficulty because of having been real estate investors and losing until 2010 was a bankruptcy, to be quite honest. we have clawed our way back saying, I am free. I mean, there were days when I thought, I don't know if I can do this, but I was watching Super Soul Sunday last night with Oprah, and she was talking about speaking what you know into being. Speak it into being. And that is so, so important. So when we're saying I am free, we're like, we're not listening to those other little things that are going through our head. So then the next thing is kinesthetic. So it's a good thing that I'm standing up here. So you can do like this. You can go, I am free. 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 I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. You just get your body into it. So everybody has different things that hit for them. And then the last is called sensing. You merely cross your arms over your chest and you just say, I am free. Oh, wow. I am free. I am free in 2016. I am free. Now, does that automatically change everything about your life? No.
I don't know. I think you just changed mine.
What's that?
I said, I don't know. I think you may have just changed mine. Watch it.
Hey, that's great. But, think about it. If those little voices going on in your head is going, you're not okay, you'll never make it, we have to place into our being that we know ourselves to be. Speak it into being. And that's what we're trying to do, is just really working on anchoring the messages. And we'll be doing that throughout the week in our trainings. We'll be sharing some different things with you, going over some different ways about having those mind shifts. So each day will be something different. And when you sign up for this, then it's, again, going to send you an email just welcoming you. And then it's going to send you an email on the topics for all of the weeks. And then there's going to be an email. We tried to break it down so it wasn't all in one long one. There's going to be an email that tells the background of each person of the 5 generations. Because you might want to say, who are these people? I just say, let's give Cheryl some love right now. If you're out there, give her some love. Say for Stephanie, give her some love. Those hands down there, and give Jen some love there. So, there you go. See, I can see it coming up from Cheryl.
I really need to catch up. Can you give me some?
What's that?
I said I came on late, so I'm asking for more. Look at that.
Yeah, give Cheryl some more. We all want to feel good.
Thank you. Now, okay, now I'm winning. All right, you can stop.
Wait, this is a winning losing thing?
Anyway, we are doing this complimentary, okay? This training that's going to take place for the next 5 weeks, literally, each day. And again, just to kind of reiterate, it's a Monday motivation where we're here for you. Now, we do want to ask if anybody wants to come in and be coached right now. We want to open that up for you. And one of us will vacate and we'll exit the seat, and then we'll bring you in and you simply say, what are you dealing with? Don't feel shy, because we're not really being shy with some of the things we've been sharing. We're sharing this is life. But here's what I know with what we went through. We would always say, we live in one of the most spectacular places in the world. We still have the 13-foot trailer. We'll just take it down to the beach a mile away. And if we have myself, Robbie, and Riley Joy, our 14-year-old standard poodle, life is good, folks. When you can really grasp that life is good at that level, it is so free, and I can't even tell you. Life was free in that year in a 13-foot trailer. It got complicated when we got home and we had to deal with mail. So we were having it shipped to us once a month. That wasn't so bad, one day a month. But, this is what I'm talking about. What is it that it takes for you to feel free in your life? And if you don't have that, do you want it? And what kind of mind shift would it take? What kind of awareness would it take? So anybody see anybody that wants to be coached over there? Let me know, and they can come in. So Cheryl, Jen, Stephanie, what about these mind shifts ongoing? I mean, what do you see 2016 happening in your own personal mind shift?
So that's a fantastic question. For 2016, I would say I feel that there's been a huge mind shift for me personally when it comes to understanding my limiting beliefs on a deeper level. So I'm really wanting to dedicate to the word limitless this year for 2016. And really, and it's so funny. In the past, we're on what date is it? Day 4 of 2016 right now as we're recording this. In these past 4 days, I've become so hyper aware of what thoughts just do not feel good. Like, it's unbelievable. I'm becoming so hyper aware of whenever I have a thought, I'm like, oh, I just don't feel good thinking that anymore. All right, let's just like reset that, hit the reset button and say like, well, what is a thought that does feel good? And I'm finding that I'm getting more and more energy from it. I'm getting more and more motivation from that practice. And I'm kind of excited because I feel that this is really going to help with this theme of limitless, is that, you know what, the only thing that can really limit me, honestly, is probably it's just all in my mind. I mean, of course, there are like physical things and you know, realistic things that are, you know, you have to deal with. But the reality is, though, we really are limitless beings if we allow ourselves to be, and if we align ourselves with beliefs that really support us and feel good to us. So that is my theme for 2016. My mind shift that I'm going into is the word limitless.
Oh, that's great. Well, you know, something that you said, Jen, makes me know that Stephanie's going to really want to chime in here, because it's not only that, it's the friends that we hang out with. So that's why I invited you all in, because honestly, you know, I need you in my life. you know, I'm here at a great place, but I need that collaboration. I need that feedback. I need that mirror. I need everything that being with people entails, because you can go up and meditate on the mountain all you want. When you come back down to earth here, guess what? We all have to deal with just things going on. And I know Stephanie's even going to, I think, do another book this year. So, you know, the fact that everything went wrong that could go wrong the first weekend didn't deter her, right. You know, and that's good information for people to know, because they look at people who do a book and, oh, it must be perfect and it must be, that's just not life. It's not perfect, but it is an opportunity for us to respond to it rather than react. And, you know, that's been an ongoing life opportunity for me. And now I have history to look at and see how I've improved. Yeah. Some of y'all are still working on the history, but anyway, Stephanie, go ahead.
I was going to actually say, I'm going to hop off pretty quick here for Yasmin to hop on, but I did want to say, you know, funny that we're talking about this, because the calendar that you sent out today, Dottie, I don't know if that's coming through well enough for you guys to actually read it. But is that mirror image? No?
Absolutely. Stop thinking that you have to get it right on the first try.
Yeah. So I think that's exactly right. You don't. It doesn't, you know what? You learn, and as long as you learn and you grow. I saw something on Facebook today. It was a little meme, and it said, did you know that the word for crisis in Chinese shares a character with the word opportunity?
Wow.
Uh-huh.
I love that.
Yeah. So I thought that was good. So on that note, I'll hop off and let Yasmin hop on. But I think this is going to be a big year for everyone who's going to take time to go through this.
Hey, thanks, Stephanie. And if you'll hang out on the side, and if you notice anybody that's wanting some coaching, let us know. And I think you hit on a great point. And I want to segue just for a moment before you drop off, because, well, we'll bring Yasmin on. She'll be hearing. But one of the things I'm going to be going through tomorrow in our mind shift, and I'll be able to show you actually online. Let me just get Yasmin in here.
Okay. 1 second. Okay,
Yasmin, hang on 1 second.
Okay.
And we'll begin. But one of the things we're going to be covering tomorrow is sort of a diagram that shows about being stable and stuck. and the area of being into metastable, and what in between is chaos. It's kind of like the price. What I work with people on is being able to. Hey, Yasmin, I think we got.
I have my. So that sign that Stephanie just put up, try it. If it doesn't work the first time, try again. So I have my little one here. She's popping in and out, but you couldn't see her at first. She was sick as a dog, so I have her home. Today. And Santa brought me a brand new computer, which I was so excited about, but for some reason I couldn't get the audio. So instead of getting discouraged, I went through every computer in my house so I could log on. But, you know, that's so perfect. See, we planned it this way, didn't we? So that Stephanie could put up the sign.
So, Yasmin, we're going to come over to you in just a second. So just to kind of segue is what we're going to be covering tomorrow. In that diagram is the opportunity is in the chaos, okay? But what we often do is we want to move away from the chaos. We're like, oh, that doesn't feel good. So that crisis you were talking about, Stephanie, is so true. You know, there's the opportunity in the chaos, because in the metastable and stable model, it looks like a S. Metastable is at the top, stable's down here, chaos is in the middle. Everybody wants to leapfrog. Yeah, well, that's great. If it was possible after, 62 years, I would have done it and I'd be selling that stuff. It doesn't work that way. So, Yasmin, welcome, and thank you, because you are a perfect example about having the mind shift that Stephanie was even talking about. And technology is not your thing, so to speak. Not that you're bad because of that, but that means that somebody who that's not their thing, lots of times what they'll just do is go, okay, I couldn't figure it out, I quit. See, Yasmin is not a quitter.
I wanted to. I was like, maybe we need to have coaches that are super high tech to do this. And I thought, now, isn't that a limiting belief? I'm like, hello, no, I'm just going to need to learn and step outside my comfort zone. So I'm going through that meta, right? This chaos. Like, seriously, I'm like experiencing it totally outside, live on the air. And I just want people to know it could be the smallest thing or the biggest thing. Like, we all experience it as coaches and as mentors and experts, so to speak. But honestly, like, I'm such a student, such a novice when it comes to technology. I'm learning from Dottie. And, I admittedly, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't get this simple BLAB working. How untechy can I be, right? So I had that. But the thing is, and you talked about that, Jen, it's like catching yourself. Like, that's where the transformation happens. It's like, don't buy a 30-year mortgage in that belief. Like, notice it, recognize it, and like shift in the moment. Like, is that powerful? Are you going to make a difference from your living room if you sulk and don't keep trying to get on, So I just want to like really be authentic that it happened to me, right? But then I thought, well, all the people that are counting on me, all the people that I'm getting sourced by all of you, it'd be a ripoff for everybody. So I'm just like sharing, turning it inside out so you can hear from everybody. This is common. We're all mirrors for each other. And the more authentic that we can be, we can learn instead of being perfect, as Stephanie has said in the past, and all of us strive for excellence. So quitting is not excellence. So anyway, I just wanted to share that because I did feel the anxiety and the chaos.
That's okay. Anxiety means you're alive. And I love what you said about the mirror. People, when they come for me coaching, I said, there's a couple things you need to know. Number one is I don't advise you, and it's not therapy or anything like that. But if you don't want to shift, you probably will become miserable. Because if you're asking me to coach you, that's what I'm going to do. But my coaching style is that I'm simply a mirror for what you already know. People go, what? I said, well, it's kind of like this. If you have something on the back of your shirt, and I go, hey, there's something on the back of your shirt. And you go, well, I can't see it. And I say, well, you have to get a mirror, and do like this, or look at the back of your hair. You know how they do that at the salon? They turn you around, like the back of it. I think it's just something they teach them in salon school. But anyway, it's great. But that's my
Oh, my sick daughter is at home. Hang on.
I'm just a mirror for what I believe people already know, because I truly believe that most people have 99% of the answers within them already. It's kind of like Michelangelo, uncovering the stone to see David, or, those kind of things. That vision, that image is in the mind. And if we can uncover the rubble that life's experiences have brought upon you, then there is this gold, there is this beauty, there is this something that doesn't need for me as a coach to remold. And I don't want to own your motivation. Okay, this is a key point for Motivation Monday. A lot of coaches do that, and then they're like their big guru coach, and they can't. Let me just say, they can't fart without asking their coach. You know what I'm saying? They can't do anything. They can't move. I'm like, look, if you can't get some skills that enable you to go out and do life. In fact, I don't let anybody do one-on-one coaching with me for more than 6 months at a time without having to take a break, go out, apply, implement, and then they can come back for another 6 months. And you know what I'm saying? But I see people who are into some things that they've been there so long, they know each other so well, they're not even anything useful happening anymore, and I see them keep repeating the same behaviors over and over. So Yasmin, bring us up, girl, because you and I are doing this MindSHIFT deal week together this week, and we're going to have some fun tomorrow when people come over to those live hangouts. What do you think? Uh-oh, you got to unmute yourself now.
There you go. Oh, no, she muted herself again.
Can you hear me?
No.
You're in trouble again?
There we go.
Because, Yasmin, tomorrow is about beliefs and blind spots. I want people to kind of know. But if you sign up, you're going to know exactly what every day is about. And let me just say this, too. The hangouts are going to be live. But if you go back to 247 Epic Entrepreneurs, you'll be able to go in and see that day's training, because a hangout, just so you'll know, becomes an evergreen video the minute it's finished. So when you go over to that site, you'll be able to tap in and see that if you weren't able to see it live. And then the next day, the new training will be in there, but there'll be a button for the archive trainings, okay? So you're not going to miss anything if you don't want to. If you want to miss it, you will. Well,
show up. Yeah, absolutely. Show up when it's convenient for you, but obviously it's fun to have people live and being interacting. But I will tell you that, you were asking me about the blind spot. And one of the things that, for example, we're very clear on some of the things that we know are of our weaknesses. Like, it is not in my blind spot. The technology right now is in my realm, right? But there are things that is not in my blind spot. That is full front and center. Blind spot is like over here, like when you're driving, you're trying to, make a right-hand turn, and it's in your blind spot. If some car's right next to you, you don't know it's there. It's those blind spots that are going to keep us held back or not achieving where we want to go. Another way of saying it is limiting beliefs. But when we have our blind spots like this, and we can't see what's holding us back, coaching and coaches help this happen. Like, open up those blind spots. And I'll tell you that when other people share, you will see yourself in other people. And this is what happens. This blind spot goes like this, because you're like, oh, wow, that's me. Oh, that's me. Like, I'm not so great in technology. That's me. I might have thought I might have quit. I'm just using it as an example, right? Like, and it's not in my blind spot. I'm very clear. But there are times where I'm in a live event, and as people are sharing, it is so powerful to hear their authentic stories and their point of view that it makes the difference for me that what was in my blind spot is now in my view. And now I know what I'm dealing with. And now I can be like, okay, now I'm aware of that. So they always say first it's in the awareness. So being on these BLABs and us sharing about ourselves, our life, and giving actions and techniques, or what we call technologies, to help you move forward, it will help to open up this blind spot.
Absolutely, Yasmin. That's great. And, this reminds me to share a quote by one of my favorite people, Marianne Williamson. And she talks about that the miracle happens outside your comfort zone.
Totally.
You know, I mean, that's just about as good as it gets. And I'm glad you mentioned again about the awareness, because that's how we kind of started off today, was that the mindset, you know, just the word set, it's like, boom, you know.
Right.
It kind of emphasizes that you're not really interested in shifting things. It's set, but the word shift means that it entails that there's a movement ready to happen. We can't shift what we're not aware of, right? So we're going to have those blind spots. We'll be sharing our, you know, ways that we're trying to get to them, because we can't tell you what they are in the moment because they're blind. You know, we're blind to them. And sometimes it helps when somebody else can be that mirror for us, like you say, to open it up. So I'm going to ask if there's anybody, I'm going to check over here, anybody willing to come on and be coached. I mean, you know, honestly, we're here, we're ready to do our stuff and help you in any way, be a mirror for you.
Another way of saying is, who wants to be contributed to?
Pardon me?
Who wants to be contributed to? We want to contribute.
Absolutely.
So if there's anybody that, to be contributed to, you know, some people might think of it as the hot seat, but it's more of like a, what do we call it? It's the BLAB seat.
I would call it the BLAB seat or the love seat.
The love seat. So who wants to get in the love seat and get contributed to?
I think we just made another shift in our languaging for it. I was calling it the epic BLAB seat, but maybe it's the epic love seat.
And literally, Jen, when you were saying it, it was in my mind, love seat. Like, Dottie and I were struggling over what to call it, right? And literally, just as you were saying, I was like, love seat, it just happened. So, like, and I get my goosebumps. I don't know if you can see it, but I get these, like, what I call chill checks. Do you guys get those chill checks? Like, when those, the chills go. So we're saying love seat. I literally was saying it. So we'll call, who wants to hop in the love seat?
I mean, seriously, I mean, who really could use some love today? By coming in and sharing what you're struggling with. Because,
you know, I love actually something I want to compliment Learn to Solo, but it's so much easier to help others with their issues than to help yourself with your own issues, and LOL with that. But I want to give you a huge shout out to that, because you are so right. I've had my own coach or different coaches that I've worked with along the way, and I always joke with them whenever I'm in the love seat, as we'll say, I'm just like, and I'm feeling like this, okay, like working through it. I'm like, man, I love sitting on the other side because, and the reason why actually what I've discovered is because it's so much easier to see the full picture for the person who's sitting before you that you're coaching than when you're in it. Like when you're like fully in what you are being coached through and coached on, it's such an intense experience. So if nobody is going to is ready to volunteer for this particular week, how about I volunteer to be coached by you ladies?
All righty, bring it on.
And then people can see what it's like, and then for next week you can kind of see what it's all about and like how it really is a love seat and how we can really, really help. Oh my gosh.
Does an applause?
Okay, perfect. Absolutely. You can definitely volunteer for next week.
So I want to add something, Jen, to what you were saying, if I may, before we go to love seat. This is such a great analogy when you were just explaining why it might be easier to be on the other side. You can see so clearly because you're not in it. Imagine a fish, okay, swimming in water. And all of a sudden someone reaches down, grabs the fish, right, and shows the fish water. And the fish is looking at it like, wait, what water? I've been swimming in the water. What do you mean water? But when they pull them outside the view and say, this is the water you're swimming in, this is what coaches see. It's like, you see what I mean? We're pulling you out of your comfort zone, your water, what you're used to, because it's easier to see from outside. And of course, you know, it's more comfortable to be on the other end. But if people really try, or not, I don't want to say the word try because I consciously am shifting that for myself. People commit to transformation in their life. It is uncomfortable and it takes courage. So I want to thank you, Jen, for being courageous, being our first Love Seat participant, and demonstrating so elegantly how it goes.
And we'll never forget that in our 5 generations, first show, first week ever, that Jen had the courage to step up and say, pick me, I want to be in the Love Seat. Hey, go.
Well, what I would love, and I do want to be cognizant of time. So we are at the 2-minute mark to the full hour. So laser coaching. Laser coaching approach. So we'll see what we can do. I won't do anything like too extreme. But I would say what I am kind of working with right now, which I was going to be doing anyways today, is getting organized with all of my projects of 2016. I have quite a few on my plate that I'm extremely excited about, but you know, there's 12 months in a year, and what I'm realizing is that I don't have to do all of my projects right here in January. I can probably span them out through the course of the year. So what I would love a little bit of coaching help on is figuring out which projects should I start with for this month of January, and then maybe looking into February, what could I shift to then?
Yasmin, you want to jump in first?
Sure. So it's all about prioritizing, and we all have so many priorities. So I guess the big question to you is, what is the highest priority for you, with the richest, juiciest, like emotional reaction, or like it really would make such a big difference in your life and other people's? That's what would be the priority, which would actually affect the others, like a lever, like leverage. If you focused on that, which, by the way, I want to recommend a book called The One Thing. I read it earlier late last year, actually. The One Thing, if you focus on that and prioritize, makes such a big difference. So that might be a great book, The One Thing. And he really talks about picking that one thing that's high priority, high impact, that would actually make everything else easier to accomplish.
So, and I, you know, one of the things that might help, because I resemble you. I don't have a shortage of ideas. I have a lack of clarity, and my thing for this year is really about stepping out of chaos and into clarity. And so one of the things that I was thinking about it last night, and and I'll share it with everybody if you think it's a good thing, but I know it worked for me really well a couple years ago. I was with a coach who gave me what she called and I don't really like the name of this, but it's called a forced matrix. And what you do is write down your top 10 goals. And there's a form I can send you, and you can share that out with them.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Put in the 10 things, 8 to 10 that are your priorities. It doesn't have to be that many, but if there are that many, which for me there would be, you know, you compare, it walks you through a process of comparing every single one against the other. And at the end of it, you see which one really is, because sometimes it surprises you. I used to do this with my kids with their Christmas list. They had like 15 things they wanted. I'm like, okay, but which one do you really want? And then so I made them sit down, and they would get to it by actually doing this forced matrix, because they compare everything they wanted against the other thing that they wanted.
That's awesome.
It really kind of brings clarity to the process. Mm-hmm. So if you think that I will share that, and you can try it, but it's kind of a fun exercise, but it also really hone in on 8 to 10, which is probably too many, by the way, but that's where I am. Now take those things and really compare them against each other and say, if I had to only pick one, which one am I picking?
I love it. That is awesome. I would love to see that.
Okay. I will send that out. Dottie, you can tell me what's the best way to do that so people can see it, but I'll have to.
Maybe what we'll do is we'll get it into a link, an upload link, and we will put that in tomorrow. So if people come and sign up at 247epicentrepreneurs.com, you're going to be able to get access to that. Those kind of resources is what we're going to be sharing. And you all did excellent with giving her feedback. One of the things, Jen, I'll add real quick before I end is I do a similar kind of thing. I used to do it with people, particularly in relationships. If you think about a target has a bullseye. The really good stuff is in the middle. It's not that you don't get a few points when you hit the outside edges, but I would say the people in the relationships, and so this is it's kind of a transfer over what you're talking about. What is it that is just non-negotiable that you cannot live right now without? And then the next ring is things that, yeah, they got to have this. I'd like for them to have this. You know, but it's not just boom, I gotta have it. If we dig down deep, we really know what really makes our energy soar, and just awareness of that helps. And then that outer ring, you know, things in there that, hey, if they happen, it's going to be cool. But if they don't, I don't feel like I'm going to be missing out this year.
Right.
You know. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that helps. It is about clarifying, though, and I think we all have a little bit different tweak on how we can get there, but maybe between all that, it gives you some good feedback to get started with.
Yeah. And I would
look at her.
Look at that cutie patootie.
And I want to give a shout out.
Feeling better?
She's shy. She's shy. A little bit. So she's home from school with me today. So, but she was checking. She was curious what we were doing.
Well, welcome.
It's the sixth generation. She's 3.
So
as we're winding up here, what you can see is that we have a lot of diversity. We're 5 generations of women. Stephanie was our 20s representative, okay? And then Jen is our 30s. We had that as a mystery spot until recently. We were looking for that person, and we allowed the space. We opened it up, and in she came. And then 40s is Yasmin. Cheryl is the 50s, and yours truly is the 60s. So that's 5 generations who have various experiences. Our family structures and all are different. But here's what we're committed to. We're committed to being there for you, okay, and giving of our time and being available to coach, to train, to mentor you. And we're all entrepreneurs. We have a passion for it, and we want to be able to give and coach you in your entrepreneurial journey. So that's why we have 247, 24/7 Epic Entrepreneurs, and we are what we call free, and that's Expert Epic Entrepreneur Coaches, okay? So listen, thanks everybody for being on here. I appreciate it, and thanks for everybody giving some love to everybody. That feels so good, and we're going to get some people in this love seat. I know we are. And we're going to do the same thing, just so you know, in live hangouts. What I'll do is, even though you go there to watch, in the midst of that live hangout, I will put a link in there and say, anybody who wants to come into the hangout love seat, I'm loving that, come into the hangout love seat and do so, and jump in. And we just want to encourage you to have courage to come and be coached, because it is a courageous step. And I admire you, Jen, for stepping up to the plate. Thank you so much.
Really quickly, I just want to say thank you to the 3 of you for giving me the love. Like this actually, you know, it's so funny, like as a coach, you know, it's like, you know, these are processes that like you would think that like would just come natural, but it's so funny how it's more natural to like for me to suggest, you know, some different ideas to a client but it's so helpful to have coaches be able to like, you know, get me to think more strategically about, oh yeah, like remind me, oh yeah, what is my passion? Oh yeah, what is going to give me energy for the year? And so I look forward to having a report for you all next BLAB of how I move forward after this laser coaching session. So
and I want to say, out of that, I got value out of you sharing, because I'm like, oh yeah, how am I going to prioritize? So thank you so much for your generosity. It was really great.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Learn to Solo too on the side there. Shared a lot, and actually had some really great ideas. And one of them is that, you know, it is sometimes hard to coach yourself, right? You separate yourself, kind of have a conversation with, pretend somebody's in your shoes, you know, and coach them, because sometimes just to step out of it, which is hard to do when it's just you, but maybe. So I thought that was kind of a good suggestion. So anyway, I just appreciate some of the encouragement too that we got today, which was great. So.
Absolutely. And the love seat's all about coming from love first, because I've had coaches that they want to tear you apart, and there are coaches like that, and they're very valuable. But I just want to say who we are. You know, we'll be, you know, if we want to be rigorous, we can, and like maybe illuminate things that might be uncomfortable, but just know we're always coming from love.
There you
Like
go.
the love seat.
Yasmin, that's great. And so what we're going to do every day is we will leave, with a quote. And so I'll repeat what I said from Marianne Williamson, which is the miracle happens outside your comfort zone. And also we leave with a challenge. And so the challenge from us today is for tomorrow for you to simply show up at 247 Epic Entrepreneurs, ready to kind of participate. As we said before, 99% of success is showing up. So that's your challenge, is to do that tomorrow. Same time, 11 a.m. Pacific time, over at 247 Epic Entrepreneurs. You'll be able to get into the gate, and we'll welcome you there. Okay, thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay, bye.